to be sharing my story and encouraging you guys to use your lows to propel you to your highs. There's a quote that is, I don't know, I'm not good at quoting people and giving the credit where credit is due, but there was a quote one time that I read. Is, do you remember who you were before the world told you who to be? You know, as a kid, you have your talents and your passions that it's in your DNA. It's what makes your heart sing. As a kid, it comes out when, I don't know, around 6 or 7. Say you have a kid that loves singing and they don't care what anyone else in the house thinks. They're gonna run around the house singing and at the top of their lungs, no matter how good they can sing, no matter how amazing they can sing, they're not gonna care about anything because they know who they are and they know what their passion is and they know what their talents are and they are using them to their full potential. So it doesn't come until at some point as you go through life and people begin to tell you, you really shouldn't do that, or who do you think gives you the authority to do that, that we really start suppressing our talents and suppressing our passions and things like that. When you have your talents and your passions, and when those get taken away, you lose. Society makes you tend to realize that you lose a part of your intrinsic worth. You have a worth in you that's greater than your talents and passions. You are worthy of anything that you can bring to this world. You know, our worth is not what others think of us. So you need to take moments in life and get clarity on what really matters. I'm going to share with you a little bit about some of my downtimes and how I have used those to propel me to where I am today, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and know that I'm still on a journey. Just because I've had those downs doesn't mean that I know everything. Just because I'm here talking to you right now does not mean that I have all the answers for you. But I can share with you my journey and what's helped me, and hopefully along the way it would help you too. So, you know, a lot of people believe the cultural lie that you're not worthy of love unless it's earned. And that is such a lie. I believed that as a kid. You know, I was a chameleon kind of as a kid. I would kind of fit in wherever I did. I was a performer. I was in dance and gymnastics, and I was a cheerleader. I liked to kind of be in the spotlight and show some of my talents. I always strived for perfection. I tended to be a little bit of a control freak. I still am all these things because I felt like I was not worthy of love that people could give me unless I proved to them that I was worthy of it. Proved to them through my talents and through my actions and through my passions and through the things that I felt like I did well, then I felt like people could love me. So, but that's not true, okay? You are all worthy of your love, no matter what talents or passions you bring to this world. So, if a lot of you guys know, I've been married twice. I'm on my second marriage, and marriage is tough. It's hard. In my first marriage, I lost a baby to SIDS. I just kind of dealt with it, and it wasn't until I started counseling 8 years ago that I really started to deal with the passing of my daughter during that time. I had my first husband who took it very hard, and I had to just kind of take care of things and keep myself put together. I numbed the grief that I was going through at that period of time. I just felt like at that point in time I could get somewhere better if I didn't have to deal with that at that time, and that's a huge challenge. So then comes along my current husband, and I had my son who's now 13. And then we were debating on having another child, and I found out that I was pregnant with my now 8-year-old. And I had huge shifts during my pregnancy at that time. In the beginning, I almost miscarried him. I was actually being told that I needed to go home and be on bed rest because I was miscarrying, and I just needed to kind of wait for that time to come. And that was hard for me because some of the grief feelings were coming up from the loss of my first daughter. or my second daughter, because I do have a 22-year-old daughter, the loss of my second daughter, and understanding why God would maybe take another child from me. Sorry, this is a little bit difficult to share sometimes. I had not quite accepted my pregnancy at that point in time, but I knew that I did not want to deal with the grief of losing another one either. So a lot of internal things were happening at that time. First of all, accepting that I was probably going to lose the second child because I didn't know where I was supposed to be at that point in life. So at about 8 months pregnant is when I finally accepted that I was pregnant. And that tells you that I did have a baby. I didn't miscarry him, and that's little Parker Daniel right now. But that started the process of my counseling 8 years ago. And the past 8 years of counseling has been a range of torture, hell, happiness, joy. A lot of things have come out of it. I have gone to counseling some days and hated walking out that door, because then I had to work through all of the things that she brought up to me and things that I truly needed to work through, and did not have the confidence or anything to feel like I could do it. And then there were other days that I walked out of counseling and felt on top of the world, because you know what, I had this. I got this under control and I could do it. The counseling made me get in touch with some of my weaknesses and my smallnesses. I wasn't the great person that I didn't need to earn love from anybody. I had to understand how to get that within myself and understand that, you know what, if the person next door didn't love me, that didn't mean that I was not lovable. I became inflicted with some mental health issues at the time. I suffered horrible anxiety when I was pregnant with Parker, panic attacks and things like that. And I'm going to be honest, I asked my doctor to commit me to a mental hospital because I was really struggling. She assured me that's not what I needed, because I was okay and this was something that I could work through. And I'm glad she didn't put me there at that time. But it was a struggle. So that all leads me to where I am today. The 8-year journey, which has been up and down. I haven't been in counseling straight for 8 years, but the past 2 years have been probably the most difficult and the most profound for me in life-changing ways, because I'm figuring out who I am when, hell, shouldn't you know who you are at 40 years old? But apparently I didn't. So, you know, a lot of people are born, I'm a mental health advocate. I support anybody that has any issues with that. There are people that struggle with schizophrenia and, you know, bipolar and everything else, and they're born with that. And then there are other times that you may have mental health issues because of circumstances that you're in, or mental health can also surface itself because of unresolved grief or trauma. So sometimes those are things that you can get past and be better on the path of your mental wellness. And that's kind of where I was. I don't really feel like, and my mom has shared with me that she didn't really feel like I was born with any mental health things. And to be honest, okay, I suffer from a little bit of anxiety and some depression. And that comes from the unworthiness that I feel in myself, or did feel in myself at certain times. But mine was my circumstances that were putting me there, things that were going on around me and me not understanding how to deal with them, and also unresolved grief in prior things that have happened in my life. So this leads me to why I share with people today, because I feel such a great passion in them. And you have to understand that your passions come from the things that make you happy, and you can't lead if you have not been there. I can't lead someone else down a path of growing and understanding their worthiness and their love unless I have been on that path. And I have. I used a lot of things to make me happy in life, as many people do. You use external things, you use relationships to make you happy, you use, maybe addictions and all of these things to make you happy, when ultimately that's not what it is. And you have to embrace each moment for what it is and understand what it's trying to teach you. The other thing that I learned through counseling is you cannot heal what is hidden. If you keep those things inside of you, you will never heal. My sessions and path of counseling has revealed so many things. And my husband told me a week or two ago, he's like, I just don't even know you anymore. You're not even the person that I don't know who you are anymore. And he's right. I am not the same person he married almost 15 years ago. And even though he may struggle with it, and I struggle with it at times, and my family may struggle with it at times, and friends may struggle with it at times, I am more confident in my skin today than I was 8 years ago. Sometimes it takes hitting rock bottom and understanding that you can't continue being the hamster on that wheel and just going and going and going and going. You're going to hit rock bottom, and when you hit rock bottom, that's when you're going to get real with yourself. Also understand that your joy in today is not an absence of darkness. When you hit that darkness, just like I do daily, it doesn't mean that there's no joy to be found in it. You have to understand and take each situation for what it is and know that that darkness is going to lift, but that you can't go around it and you can't go above it, just like the little storybook rhyme where, I'm going to make myself look really crazy here, but there's a bear, something in the woods, and, there's a pond. You can't go over it. You can't go around it. You got to go through it. Okay, well, that darkness that you hit in your life is the exact same thing. You have to go through it. Those are all stepping points in your life, no matter if you are going through relationship issues, if you're going through divorce, if you're going through friendship issues, if you're going through issues with your job, if you're going with issues with yourself, you have to go through it. You can't go around it. You can't go above it. You can't go under it. So that darkness does not mean there's absence of joy, because there is joy on the other side. Your soul needs the darkness in order to propel you into being a better you tomorrow. A lot of us feel like when we are afflicted with trauma or we have grief that we are having to deal with, it's a huge reality for everyone, but you have to understand how to work through that so it becomes history. You can't use your trauma and grief to continue on the path that you're going, because you're not going to be whole in that. You're not going to understand what that was trying to teach you at that point in time. So, life is a journey, and I will continue my journey today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day in fighting for what I believe is true in my heart, and not caring if I piss someone off. I care about what others think, and I appreciate what they think, but I'm still going to continue to be true to myself and to the ones that I love. And so understand that life is a journey. If you numb your lows, you're going to numb your highs. Think about it that way. I numbed my lows of the loss of my daughter and the challenges that maybe I've had in my relationships, and I numbed them and didn't work through them. And in that process, I kind of numbed the highs as well. If you're not able to fully experience any lows that you are in, that means you are not capable to experience any highs that you're in as well. You're not going to experience the greatness of the joy and the happiness and the passion that you can have during those highs, because you're not even capable to experience the grief and the emptiness and everything else that you have when you have the lows. So if you numb your lows, you're going to numb your highs. So don't think just because you ignore those lows that you're going to be okay and you're going to ride the train to success on those highs, because it's not going to happen, because you've pushed everything, all the lows down and suppressed them, and they're going to sneak out. They're going to sneak out at little points along the way, and it's going to jack you up. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to give yourself permission to step back into your childlike passions and dreams. You know, think about the things that made you happy, and think about who you were when the world told you who to be. Think about who you wanted to be. You know, be that person and share that person with the world. It does not matter if the person sitting next to you when you sit down on the couch tonight, or the person sitting next to you on the bus tomorrow. It doesn't matter if they don't agree with how you're living your life, because you know what? It matters what you do. And you aren't going to be able to share your joys and your passions or lead other people if you don't believe that about yourself. How are you going to lead someone else or be the friend that someone wants if you can't even be that person to yourself? So ask yourself, is the life you lead the life that longs to live inside of you? We all have a longing of certain things that we feel we are either missing or craving, and you have to listen to that. So is the life that you are leading today the life that longs to live inside of you? And if your answer is no to that, then you really need to do some internal thinking, some internal evaluations, and I'm going to tell you guys, this is not easy. This has been a huge hell of a process for me. Like I said, I started counseling 8 years ago, and I'm at a point right now where I'm not really going. I'm sure I will be back at some point in time, because you know what? I'm going to fall flat on my face. But I'm going to get back up, and I'm going to know that I have this life under control and that I have something to bring to this world just like you do. So, you know, the last 2 years have been hell for me. They have been the worst. So think about it. Do you want to be where you are if it's destroying your soul? If it is destroying your soul and it is not speaking to who you were made to be, then you have to think about where your path is leading you to. You don't want to end up at 50, 60, 70 on your dying day and realize that you ended up at the wrong mountaintop in your life. I'm sure there's a lot of people that have done that. There are some amazing people that get to the end of this life and they realize they climbed the wrong mountain because they were living for other people. They were living for other people's happiness. They were living for other people's approval. They were living for just other people in general. You don't want to get on a mountaintop at the end of your life and realize that, oh my gosh, that mountain over there, that mountain over there is the one where all my passions lie. That's where all my dreams lie, because that's where you need to be. Now, doesn't mean that you have to drop everybody to the side and run down that mountain and up the next one, because the people that are in your life that love you are going to help you succeed and climb that mountain as well. So, you know, your calling is where your talents and your burdens lie. So when I say that, okay, your talents are what's in your DNA, your gifts and your passion. And through life, we either abandon them or let other people abuse them and tell us we can't do that. So you also have your burdens in life, and those are the things that pull at your heart. Those are the things that you continually have a passion for. So your calling is when you have your talents and you have your burdens and they collide. So I still am trying to figure out what my calling is. I am a creator of sorts. I like creating things for people. I have a creative side in art and in writing and in not really speaking. I'm still trying to grow that. But anyway, I have these talents just like you do. And yours are going to be greatly different than mine. But I also have these burdens, and these burdens that I've dealt with in my life have been the failures of relationships that I've had, the failures of myself that I've felt, the struggles that I've had with depression and anxiety. Those are my burdens. So you have to understand where you can take your talents and your burdens, and when they collide, that's your calling. That's why I share with you guys. I feel like my talents of writing and sharing with you guys and sharing my burdens with you, you just think about what that means for you. Think about your talents. Think about the struggles that you've had in life, because you can't teach anyone else if you have never been through it. Also understand, pain is the birthplace of a new way. Your newness comes from the pain that you feel. All that pain that I have felt for the past 8 years, and immensely for the past 2, that has all been the birthplace of the new me, which I truly feel like I'm a new me today, more than I was even a year ago. That I got there because of the pain. So I worked through it, and let me tell you, it's hell. Okay, it is. But you know what? I'm much better today and comfortable in my skin than I was 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 15, even 35 years ago. So just think about that. Give yourself permission to step back into your childlike passions and into your childlike dreams and live in love. Love those around you and embrace what you have. Don't believe the culture lies of if people don't accept your behaviors, then they don't love you. Because if they don't love you just because some of the behaviors and the actions that you have, that's such a lie. They should love you. It's called agape love. It's unconditional. Granted, relationships fail, and they're going to fail. But you have to know that you have been true in that, and you have been true to yourself, and that you have fulfilled your dreams and your passions and your 50% that you've given to that relationship, that you've done your 100% in that 50%. So I just kind of wanted to share with you a little bit about my journey and what some of my healing has gone through, or what some of my healing has done, and where I am today and where I'm still striving to be. Go be amazing. Go be a leader.